Welcome. Now it's time to look to these validation files, how to handle the measure data that we would like to use for a type of comparison with the model. And this is partly something very similar that we already have done with the climate file, but there are, of course, many details that differs, and we will look into those now. First of all, we can remind us about what we did last time, and we had this folder where we had one successful simulation, and that was the peat inversion, and that's in an XML file. That was using the location3.bin as the input climate file. And this location number 3 was also the same name as we had for the CSV file that is actually originating from the file that we obtained from the very beginning from Munir. But now we should use this location number 3 once again, because we would like to look also to the soil data and not only to the atmospheric data. And I would like to now avoid mixing with different names and using a convention that could be misleading if we have partly similar data or partly different data but with the same name. So this location 3 is not such a good name. I would like to say that it's better to now call this something that is location number 3, but only for climate, since we should also look to location 3 for the soil data. So I changed the name of that, and then we have to see what we do that. We do it here. I call it now location 3 climate, just to make sure that will not be mixed up with the location 3 that we should use for the soil measured data. Now I will go into this location 3 CSV, and I will open this with the COP model. And when the COP model open it first, it does not show the records, it only shows the columns. But if we scan it, then we should get also the additional information, and we did so here. So now we have also the 720 lines with all the time points. One way to do this now is to select them one by one, but we can also select them all. And for instance, we could exclude the date, and then we just go further with creating a PDF file, and we open that file directly, and then we see all the rest of the variables here. So now we have both the climate data and the soil data in the same PDF file. And of course we could have done this from the beginning and then select the climate from the soil data, but this can be done in various ways. And the first thing I would like to do now is to select those soil, and we can see the data coming here, and then we have one more that has actually exactly the same min and max value, so it looks like a duplication. It is put on each other, but I don't know why, but we keep this, and then we also go to what is the yield temp, and finally we skip this true depth. It has the same value all the time, but we go to Vanhöje That looks interesting. Now we have them all together in one chart, looking a little bit messy. But we could now create a new file that contains only those. And I do so by clicking on this P. A new PDF file will be created when you press the button. And we guess that should happen, and then it suggests a file called chart8. And then I call this instead something more sensitive to what we have selected. We have selected a soil validation and its location again free, and then we save that, and then we can open that, and then you see those particular files. Okay, now we could of course start to think what are the units and what are the identification, and how important is it that it should be correct. And then I will say that it is less important in this step, because these are just for comparison with the model. But of course we could make sure that at least the units are identified. And maybe if we go to this change description, it could be a good issue to put location free also as one of the important thing, because now it is said jordförst, two places, the same here and here. But let's call this ID location free instead. And then if we do so, I can see that we can also use those for copying. And copying and paste can do it quicker like this. And then we have paste them one by one. But I can also copy those four together. This is very similar to what you can probably remember from, for instance, Excel. But it's not fully as flexible as Excel. But now we have this location free, and we have the ID, and we could look to especially the units. And then those jordforsk should be in volumetric percentage. That's here, and that's the same, and that's coming again. It's for all the values are now volumetric percentage, so it's percentage of total volume. That's the normal unit. And then we have jord temp, and that's of course the Celsius degree. And finally we have vannhöje, and that should be with the length scale, so it should only be a meter here. That's we have here. That's it. And then we apply those. So now we have the units, and we have the location, and then we save that. And that's it. Now they should be a little bit more correct and less risky that they are mixed up with something else. Okay, this means that we have it for the location 3. What about location 4? We have more or less considering this already, but the climate could be, of course, with two different climates, but maybe more common is that we have two locations close to each other with a common climate. So I would like to now go back to location 4 and check that before we further use this soil validation location free. And then we have this location free, and we notice this, since this was one of the first that we created. We open this again with the cook model. Again we rescan it to identify the time, and then we again failed. We did that the last time as well, because we had not been changing from time step to date. So we have to edit that by our notepad, and that we know that it is not so complicated, but we also know that everything has to be correct, because otherwise it is not correctly understood. And we now save this, and we exit this, and then we have location 4 here, and then we open location 4 again with the cook model, and now we have the date, and then we scan location 4, and once we have done that we see the timing is correct, and again we could select all the variables, and we may exclude the date. That's it. Well, and we just create this, and we should get the now location 4.bin, and we see that this includes both the climate and the soil data. And now we should focus on the validation, so I will also select now the soil data in the same way as we did before. Take all the soil information, soil, no, not the true depths, but we had one höje, that was the last one, and then we create a new file with this selection by pressing this P, and we call this now, I would suggest similar like we did before, soil validation, and then location 4.bin. So this means that now we have those both for location 3 and location 4, and of course you may feel that now if you should repeat it you should take the ones from the other, and then it can be nice to open actually our location 3 here, and that's the one we have here, soil validation location 3. And then we can see, and we can check that those are now similar. So we just click on this, and we can see that we have our 6. Okay, I see. We have made a mistake, and that's easy to do, because here we have a duplicate. Jordfusk 7 centimeters is replicated in this, and it's not replicated in this. This is not good. They should be exactly the same if they should also be, compared. So nice to demonstrate mistakes, because that is what most humans are doing. To get rid of this, we have to pick all those that should be remained. So we skip the one, and we again create a new file, and then we could call this, it always just chart, because this is a chart, but I call it now soil validation free, and now it is the corrected one, and so I put a C to just make sure that that's the one, and then we open that, and then we see now it is the same as what we have here before on the soil validation location 4. Okay, what's the nice thing? Probably the nice thing is that now the information can be, also copied from one file to another. So of course we can take this description that we prepared here, and that was the units that should be now the same. So I will right click and make a copy, and now I will go from this number 3 to number 4, and I go to the change description, and then I make a paste here. And then I noticed that we missed to saving this correct, because this was location 4. Location, I call it look 4. Just try to just copy and paste here, copy and paste, and copy and paste, and then we save this. And then we take this to location 3, and then we notice that we did not save this location here, and then I will make a paste here, and I will change this to number 3. This became a little bit messy, but by copying and pasting it should be correct. And now I can take those 3 together, and I copy it and I paste it, and I do that again, and now they are all saved. Okay, now we have 2 files that are looking the same. They have 7 variables. They are the same arrangement, and they are different only by location 3, and in this case, and in this case, we are saving this soil location 3. That's it. If we, by some reason, now would like to compare this location 3 with location 4, it could be nice to have them together again. They were together from the beginning, but now we are splitting them up. And now I will just show you how you could merge things together with those PDF files. And then I click to this create new file, and then it gives me one option that was to read in new, but if I quit that I will see now that we have additional way to handle the files. They could be added together, they could be mixed, or it said that they could be merged. What's the difference? Adding is to put them to each other when they are a long series of time. Mixing is when we have two that are parallel, and that's what we have now. And then I click that, and then I select those files that I would like to click to mix. And that will be the one number 3 and number 4. So they are selected, and then it asks me for a new file name. And then I will say that this will be both 3 and 4. So I call this only soil validation. And then we open that. And then finally we could create the file directly. And you see that that's the same number of records, the same number of variables. If they had not been, fully consistent with respect to that, then there are also options to interpolate, to fill missing values with interpolated values, or to put missing values in those gaps. But now we should have no missing values, and we should be able to put them together. So I clicked on this create new file, and immediately we see those location 3 first and location 4 after that, and we could pick on this number 1, that is location 3, and then we pick on this location 4, and then we can get the comparison between the two. So this looks, in my view, nice, and we could have both now, and both can be used as a type of validation. There are many things that could be done with these PDF files, and it takes time maybe to understand the structure, how it is organized, and what is easy and what might be more complicated. But in my view, once they are in this format, you have a number of opportunities that will be very quick and straightforward compared to looking to ASCII file or even Excel files. But this is, in my view, enough for what we have done for the moment. And in the next, I will show you another step that is equally important, of course, and that is to now make sure that the simulation document will understand how to read and how to compare with the information from the validation file. So that will be the next, and I hope to see you look into that as well. Bye bye.